Tucked within the bustling city of Tokyo, Aoyama Cemetery is more than just a burial ground. It's a place shrouded in mystery, where history and the supernatural intertwine. Established during the Meiji period in the late 19th century, Aoyama Cemetery was one of the first municipal cemeteries in Japan, built as part of the government's modernization efforts. Its location, nestled in the upscale Aoyama district, contrasts sharply with the eerie reputation it holds today. Spanning over 50 acres, the cemetery is not just a resting place for the departed, but also a historical landmark. Its carefully maintained grounds house the graves of influential politicians, military leaders, writers, and even foreign dignitaries. However, as time passed, stories of the paranormal began to emerge, giving Aoyama Cemetery a reputation as one of Japan's most haunted sites. The cemetery's layout, with its winding paths, ancient trees, and rows of gravestones, creates a sense of solitude that feels otherworldly, especially at night. Lanterns line the paths, casting faint light on the gravestones, but they seem to only emphasize the shadows rather than dispel them. The cemetery's architecture reflects both traditional Japanese design and Western influences, a result of the Meiji-era cultural shifts. This blend of old and new adds to its unique yet unsettling character. For many visitors, the first experience of Aoyama Cemetery is the heavy atmosphere. It's not just quiet, it's the kind of silence that feels alive, as though the very air carries the weight of unseen eyes. Some visitors have reported a feeling of being watched, even in broad daylight. Others claim that a cold breeze passes by suddenly, even when the air is still. These subtle, inexplicable moments are often the start of what some believe to be encounters with the supernatural. While many of Tokyo's landmarks are vibrant and full of life, Aoyama Cemetery is a stark reminder of the past. The gravestones tell stories of war, love, loss, and tragedy. Some are marked with family crests, while others have faded inscriptions, their details lost to time. Yet it's said that the spirits connected to these graves have not faded. From whispers of ancient legends to modern paranormal investigations, Aoyama Cemetery has become an enduring source of fascination and fear. As the sun sets over Tokyo, Aoyama Cemetery transforms. The shadows stretch longer, the lanterns flicker, and the fog that sometimes rolls in from the surrounding city settles over the grounds like a veil. It's in this twilight that the first inklings of the cemetery's haunted reputation begin to take hold. What lies beneath this haunted reputation? Next, we'll delve into the stories and experiences that have made Aoyama Cemetery one of Tokyo's most chilling locations. As dusk deepens over Aoyama Cemetery, its haunting reputation becomes more tangible. Stories passed down through generations and whispered among locals have painted this burial ground as a hotspot for ghostly encounters and unexplainable phenomena. While some dismiss these tales as urban legends, many claim first-hand experiences that defy logic, cementing the cemetery's status as one of Tokyo's most haunted places. One enduring legend speaks of a restless spirit, a young woman in a white kimono, often seen wandering the cemetery's paths. Her story is a tragic one. Abandoned by her fiancé on their wedding day, she is said to have taken her own life, her grief binding her spirit to the cemetery. Visitors describe seeing her faint silhouette, illuminated by the moonlight, or hearing soft sobs that seem to come from nowhere. What makes her presence chilling is her reported tendency to approach the living, as though pleading for help before vanishing into thin air. Another tale revolves around a foreign diplomat whose grave resides within Aoyama Cemetery. It's said his spirit remains unsettled due to a mysterious scandal that led to his untimely death. Nighttime visitors have reported an imposing shadowy figure standing silently near his grave, its form exuding an oppressive energy that compels people to leave. The shadow reportedly moves without sound, often disappearing behind gravestones only to reappear unexpectedly. Locals also speak of the lantern walkers, faint glowing orbs of light that drift among the graves late at night. These orbs, often mistaken for lanterns, are said to lead visitors deeper into the cemetery before suddenly extinguishing. Those who follow them report an overwhelming sense of dread, as though they are being watched by unseen eyes. Paranormal enthusiasts have suggested these lights might be manifestations of spirits protecting their resting places, or even trying to communicate with the living. Adding to the unsettling reputation are the unexplained sounds frequently reported by visitors. Footsteps echo on gravel paths, even when no one is visible. Low murmurs, like a distant conversation, emerge from the shadows but fade the moment one tries to locate their source. On particularly foggy nights, there have even been accounts of spectral figures dressed in old-fashioned attire, seemingly reenacting moments from their lives, only to disappear as the fog lifts. These experiences are not limited to nighttime alone. Even during daylight hours, some visitors describe feeling inexplicably anxious, as if being observed by an unseen presence. Local workers who maintain the grounds have shared accounts of tools inexplicably moving or disappearing, only to reappear days later in locations they had never been used. These stories and encounters, though varied in nature, share a common thread: the cemetery's undeniable connection to the spiritual world. Whether these phenomena are tied to specific individuals buried here, or are a reflection of the broader reverence for the dead in Japanese culture, the impact on visitors is profound. As we move on, we'll journey deeper into the cemetery, exploring specific locations and the chilling tales attached to them, revealing why some corners of Aoyama Cemetery are more feared than others. As the paths of Aoyama Cemetery wind deeper into its labyrinth of tombstones and ancient trees, certain spots have gained notoriety for being particularly haunted. These areas, often avoided even by locals, are said to house spirits whose presence is more intense than in other parts of the cemetery. One such location is the cluster of graves near the old cherry blossom grove. By day, this area appears serene, with the iconic pink blossoms casting a soft light on the gravestones. But at night, this section transforms. Visitors have reported an unnerving chill in the air, no matter the season, and whispers seem to drift through the grove even when no one else is around. The most chilling tales come from those who have seen a pale woman in traditional attire standing beneath the largest tree. She is said to stare intently at passers-by, only to vanish if approached. Some believe she is the spirit of a woman who died waiting for a loved one beneath those very trees. The mausoleum near the cemetery's eastern edge is another hotspot for eerie activity. This structure, built in the late Meiji period, houses the remains of a once prominent family. Though the mausoleum's doors remain locked, some claim to have heard faint weeping, or even the sound of footsteps coming from within. Paranormal investigators who have visited the site report their equipment malfunctioning inexplicably near the building. The aura surrounding the mausoleum is so unsettling that many refuse to linger there for long. Perhaps the most infamous spot is the forgotten section of the cemetery, where older, unkempt graves have fallen into disrepair. Overgrown with ivy and shrouded in perpetual shadow, this area has been dubbed the Silent Corner by those who dare to enter. Visitors have shared stories of seeing shadowy figures darting between the gravestones, or feeling an oppressive weight on their chest, as though an unseen force is pressing down on them. One harrowing account involves a man who felt a cold hand grip his shoulder while he was exploring the area alone. Turning around, he found no one there, but the sensation lingered for hours. Another chilling sight is the pathway leading to the cemetery's central shrine. This narrow trail, flanked by tall cedar trees, is said to be haunted by a spectral monk. According to legend, the monk roams the path in search of atonement for an unknown transgression. Witnesses describe seeing a robed figure moving silently along the trail, only for it to vanish when approached. Some claim that the air along this path grows noticeably colder, and that an overwhelming sense of sorrow often accompanies the monk's presence. Lastly, there's the well at the far western boundary of the cemetery, believed to predate many of the graves. Local folklore claims the well was once used in rituals to cleanse the dead, but the spirits of those who suffered violent deaths are said to linger around it. Strange reflections have been seen in the water, showing faces or figures that are not present in reality. Some brave visitors have reported hearing faint cries or the sound of splashing water when the area is otherwise silent. Each of these locations adds another layer to the mystery of Aoyama Cemetery, making it not just a place of rest, but also a realm of lingering unrest. Next, we'll delve further into the personal accounts and historical ties that have contributed to the cemetery's reputation as one of Tokyo's most haunted sites. The ghostly reputation of Aoyama Cemetery is bolstered by an abundance of personal accounts and chilling paranormal experiences shared by visitors and locals alike. These stories have been passed down through generations, creating a mosaic of supernatural tales that continues to capture the imagination of those who hear them. One of the most well-known tales centers around a cyclist who often rode through the cemetery at night as a shortcut. According to his account, one evening, he noticed a figure walking ahead of him. As he approached to pass, the figure suddenly turned its head to reveal an eerily distorted face. Before he could react, the figure vanished into thin air. Shaken, the man vowed never to take that route again. This story is particularly popular because it underscores the cemetery's dual nature, a seemingly ordinary place that transforms into something otherworldly after dark. Another recurring story involves a phantom dog, seen wandering the cemetery. Described as a large black canine with glowing red eyes, the dog is said to follow visitors silently, disappearing as they exit the grounds. Some believe the dog is a guardian spirit tied to one of the graves, while others think it is a harbinger of doom. Those who have encountered it speak of an overwhelming sense of dread, as though the animal is warning them to leave. A lesser-known, but equally unsettling story involves a small child's voice that has been heard in the vicinity of an old family grave. Visitors describe the sound of laughter or a faint voice calling for mama in the dead of night. Some claim to have seen a fleeting image of a child dressed in early 20th century clothing, skipping between the gravestones before fading away. The family associated with the grave reportedly lost a young child under tragic circumstances, leading many to believe that the child's spirit remains tethered to the site. The cemetery's older section is also home to tales of ghostly processions. On certain nights, people claim to see a line of spectral figures, all clad in traditional funeral attire, moving silently through the area. The figures are said to appear translucent, their feet never quite touching the ground. Witnesses often describe a sense of being unwelcome, as if they are intruding on a sacred moment. The origins of these apparitions remain a mystery, but their presence adds to the cemetery's eerie allure. Another chilling story involves the sound of bells. Visitors walking through the cemetery at dusk have reported hearing the faint ringing of bells, though no source can be found. Some believe these are funeral bells from the past, their echoes lingering in the air as a reminder of the countless ceremonies held here over the years. Perhaps the most unnerving reports come from those who have attempted to take photographs or record videos within the cemetery. Many claim their devices malfunction unexpectedly, batteries drain without explanation, or strange anomalies appear in their footage. In one instance, a visitor reported capturing an image of what appeared to be a translucent hand resting on a gravestone, though no one else was present at the time. These stories, whether passed down as urban legends or first-hand encounters, paint a vivid picture of Aoyama Cemetery as a place where the veil between the living and the dead feels thin. As we conclude this story, we will explore the lasting impact of these ghost stories and reflect on why Aoyama Cemetery remains a compelling destination for those seeking both history and mystery. Aoyama Cemetery's haunted reputation endures as a powerful symbol of Japan's deep connection to its past and the lingering presence of the spirits believed to inhabit this sacred space. Whether one visits for its historical significance, its serene yet eerie atmosphere, or in search of a paranormal experience, the cemetery has a way of leaving a lasting impression on all who walk its paths. What makes Aoyama Cemetery particularly intriguing is the cultural context in which these ghost stories exist. In Japan, the belief in spirits is deeply ingrained in folklore and traditions. Unlike Western depictions of ghosts as purely malevolent, yurei often embody sorrow, longing, or unfinished business. These beliefs have shaped how locals and visitors perceive the cemetery, not merely as a resting place for the dead, but as a realm where their presence can still be felt. One fascinating aspect of this legacy is how the cemetery has become a canvas for urban legends that adapt to the times. Tales of ghostly encounters and supernatural phenomena evolve with each generation, blending historical truths with modern imagination. These stories are often retold in books, television shows, and even internet forums, ensuring that the mystery of Aoyama Cemetery continues to thrive in popular culture. Moreover, the cemetery's location in Tokyo's bustling Minato ward creates a unique juxtaposition between the living and the dead. Surrounded by high-rise buildings, shops, and busy streets, Aoyama Cemetery serves as a tranquil yet haunting reminder of the city's layered history. It is a place where time feels suspended, where the past whispers softly amidst the hum of modern life. For many, the allure of Aoyama Cemetery lies not in fear, but in fascination. The idea that a place so steeped in history could also be home to supernatural phenomena captures the imagination in a way few locations can. Visitors often leave with stories of their own, whether they experienced an unexplainable chill, saw a shadow that defied logic, or simply felt a profound connection to the site's atmosphere. Yet, even those who dismiss the ghost stories as folklore cannot deny the cemetery's historical and cultural significance. Aoyama Cemetery stands as a testament to the lives and legacies of those interred within its grounds. It serves as a space where the living can pay their respects, reflect on mortality, and perhaps even confront the mysteries that lie beyond. In the end, Aoyama Cemetery is more than just a haunted place. It is a reminder of how the past and present coexist in Tokyo's vibrant tapestry. Whether you visit to seek out the supernatural, to honor history, or simply to experience its unique atmosphere, Aoyama Cemetery is a destination that offers more than meets the eye. As you step away from its winding paths and weathered gravestones, you may find yourself pondering the stories you've heard, the lives that were lived, and the possibility that some spirits never truly leave. Perhaps that is the true legacy of Aoyama Cemetery, a place that lingers in the memory, much like the spirits said to roam its grounds. And so, the legend of Aoyama Cemetery continues, inviting those who dare to explore its mysteries and confront the unknown. Will you be among them? Toyama Park, located in the bustling heart of Tokyo, Japan, is a place known for its serene beauty, tree-lined paths, and vibrant public gatherings. Yet, few are aware of the dark and enigmatic past that haunts this recreational space. This park, once a military training ground during World War II, holds an air of melancholy and unrest that many believe is still alive in the rustling leaves and whispers of the wind. In the early 20th century, Toyama Park was originally established as a training ground for soldiers. The land was chosen for its spacious terrain, surrounded by lush vegetation and hills that provided a secluded yet strategic location for military exercises. Soldiers would practice drills, march in formation, and prepare for the challenges of war. But with the advent of wartime tragedies, this once proud military ground saw its share of accidents and loss. Records show that a number of soldiers who trained at Toyama Park perished during training mishaps, their lives cut short before they could ever see battle. The stories of these young men, who had dreams of duty and honor, are said to linger in the park, waiting to be discovered by the living. When the war ended, Toyama Park was repurposed and transformed into a public park as the country sought to rebuild and heal. But the scars of its past remained embedded in its soil, as if the land itself bore witness to the anguish of those who had walked there before. While visitors began to flock to the park for its serene walking trails, playgrounds, and cherry blossoms that bloom in spring, others noticed that there was an undercurrent of something more, something that defied logic. The first signs of paranormal activity were subtle, almost dismissible at first. People began to whisper about strange, unexplained occurrences that seemed to happen only when the sun had set. Those who dared to venture into the park at night reported an unsettling sensation, as if unseen eyes were following them through the darkened paths. Shadows flickered where no light should reach, and the air grew colder, even when the weather was warm. It was as if the spirits of those who once trained here had never truly left, their presence merging with the whispers of leaves and the distant sound of wind. Over the years, stories of Toyama Park's ghostly activity grew. Some visitors recounted hearing footsteps following them on quiet nights, only to turn around and see no one there. Others spoke of a sudden, inexplicable drop in temperature, their breath visible in the frigid air, despite no change in weather conditions. Rumors swirled about the figure of a soldier, appearing and disappearing in the darkness, his uniform worn and faded as if he were a lost soul wandering in search of something that could never be found. Some say they have seen the shadow of a man standing still at the edge of the park, staring out into the distance as if lost in thought. The more these accounts surfaced, the more the stories cemented Toyama Park's reputation as one of Tokyo's most haunted locations. But this wasn't just about hearsay or the thrill of ghost stories. These stories were backed by people who claimed they had experienced something that could not be explained away, a feeling that clung to them long after they had left the park. The local community grew accustomed to the idea that Toyama Park was more than just a green space. It was a place where the past and present collided, a place where history whispered in the wind, and the souls of those who once walked the land refused to rest. Yet the story of Toyama Park's haunted nature is not confined to the echoes of the past. It is also intertwined with the spiritual beliefs that have shaped Japan's understanding of the supernatural for centuries. In Shinto, spirits known as kami are believed to inhabit the natural world. Their presence felt in trees, rivers, and even stones. In this belief system, spirits are not always benevolent or at peace. Some are restless, driven by unfulfilled desires or sudden, untimely deaths. It is this idea that lends a certain weight to the stories that surround Toyama Park, making them more than just a collection of eerie legends. They become a piece of cultural memory, echoing the beliefs of a people who respect and fear the unseen. As part of Tokyo's urban landscape, Toyama Park continues to attract visitors from all walks of life. Some come seeking the joy of a sunny day, others come for the beauty of the changing seasons. But there are those who come with a different purpose. They come for the thrill, the mystery, and the chance to experience the supernatural for themselves. For those who visit, the park is a place where reality and the beyond blend seamlessly, creating an atmosphere that is as unsettling as it is captivating. Next, we will take a deeper look at the specific incidents and chilling experiences that have occurred within the park, revealing the stories that have shaped its haunted reputation. Toyama Park's reputation as a haunted site is not just built on whispers and old stories. It's supported by the accounts of those who have walked its trails, stared into its shadowed corners, and felt the inexplicable cold touch of the unknown. people have come forward with their tales of eerie moments that defy explanation, creating a patchwork of first-hand accounts that add depth to the park's legend. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the sound of footsteps that seem to follow visitors long after they have left the park's well-trodden paths. It starts as a distant echo, an uncertain shuffling in the underbrush that might be mistaken for an animal or the wind. Yet as visitors press on, the sound grows louder, more distinct, until it feels as though someone or something is walking in perfect step behind them. When they spin around, the space is empty, the only noise being the rustling of leaves. Some say that these footsteps belong to the spirits of the soldiers who trained at the park long ago, lost in their own cycles of memory, unable to find peace. Other visitors recount feeling an icy presence that seems to brush past them without warning. The summer nights in Tokyo are known for their warmth, but those who experience this sensation describe a sudden, bone-chilling cold that feels out of place, as if the air has momentarily shifted to hold something unseen. The cold often comes with an unearthly stillness, an absence of sound that makes the heart pound with the weight of anticipation. It's as though the park itself holds its breath, waiting for something to happen. There are accounts of ghostly apparitions seen flitting through the dense trees. Some have described figures clad in traditional Japanese military uniforms, their presence appearing momentarily, before vanishing into thin air. Witnesses speak of seeing these spirits as if they were real people standing under the canopy, with expressions that convey sadness or confusion. It's said that the apparition of a soldier is most commonly seen near the old training grounds, a section of the park that feels more isolated and untouched by the passage of time. Those who have glimpsed him report that his eyes seem to follow them as they move, the figure appearing frozen in a moment of longing, as if trapped in a memory he cannot escape. There are also stories about the sudden appearance of an unusual mist that seems to envelop parts of the park, making it hard for visitors to see or breathe. This mysterious mist is more than just a product of weather. Those who have witnessed it insist it forms and dissipates far too quickly to be natural. It clings to the air, casting an unnatural dimness over the park, and is often accompanied by the sound of faint whispers, an indecipherable chorus that tugs at the curiosity of those who hear it. Some believe that the mist represents the spirits of those who are unable to move on, lingering like an unfulfilled sigh, waiting for a resolution that may never come. One of the most intriguing and unsettling stories comes from a group of friends who decided to take a night stroll in the park. As they moved deeper into the less frequented areas, the silence of the night was broken by a sudden eerie laughter that echoed through the trees. The laughter was not the kind that comes from human voices. It was hollow, as though coming from deep within the ground. Terrified, the group quickly left the area, but the laughter followed them, fading only as they exited the park's gates. The experience left an impression so strong that one of the friends returned weeks later, determined to find the source of the sound. What she found was nothing but the peaceful quiet of a park that seemed indifferent to the stories people told about it. Yet for her, the memory of that laughter haunted her, a reminder that some mysteries may not have an explanation. Many of the park's visitors claim that the sounds and sights they experience go beyond mere coincidence. A local woman who had lived near Toyama Park her entire life shared her story of hearing soft, whispered voices at night, especially when she passed by the old oak trees that line the southern edge of the park. The whispers, she said, seemed to speak in a language that was familiar but incomprehensible, like an ancient dialect long forgotten. She believed it was a message, a warning, or perhaps a plea from the spirits that resided there. The old buildings within the park, remnants of its military past, are often described as the focal points of such supernatural activity. Visitors have shared accounts of hearing the sound of old doors creaking, as if opened and closed by unseen hands. One man reported that, while walking near the dilapidated building, he felt a sudden tap on his shoulder, only to turn and find no one behind him. His pulse quickened, and his senses screamed that he was not alone. Those who know the history of Toyama Park attribute these occurrences to the spirits of the soldiers who trained and even died on that land. Could it be that these echoes of the past have become more than memories, manifesting as residual energy that refuses to fade away? The accounts at Toyama Park continue to intrigue and terrify those who venture into its depths. For many, the park is not just a green expanse for recreation and relaxation. It is a place where the past lingers, where whispers and footsteps remind us that the line between the living and the dead is thinner than we might believe. In the next part, we will explore the local legends that have fueled these stories and examine how they intertwine with the experiences of those who have dared to step into Toyama Park after dark. Toyama Park's reputation as a place teeming with supernatural activity is deeply intertwined with the history that surrounds it. To understand the hauntings, one must delve into the park's past, a past that holds secrets, loss, and the unyielding presence of memories that refuse to fade. Beyond the first-hand accounts, the local legends of Toyama Park paint a picture of a place where the past and present coexist, merging in stories passed down through generations. One of the most prominent legends involves a mysterious figure known as the Sentinel of Toyama. This figure is said to appear at dusk, standing motionless at the edge of the park's central clearing, as though keeping watch over the grounds. Described as a tall, imposing figure in a faded military uniform, the Sentinel is believed to be the spirit of a former officer who once commanded troops stationed at the park during the World War II. Witnesses who claim to have seen him describe an inexplicable sense of being judged, as if the figure's gaze pierces through their very souls. The appearance of the Sentinel is most often reported near the park's old parade grounds, a space that once hosted military drills and training exercises. For some, the figure appears only as a fleeting shadow, but for others, he is more tangible. A specter so real, it evokes both awe and dread. The legend of the Sentinel has been reinforced by local lore that speaks of night watchmen who have heard strange, rhythmic marching from within the park's old parade grounds. Some say the sound is nothing more than the wind, but others swear that it is the collective memory of soldiers who once drilled there, moving as if caught in a never-ending loop of duty. These soldiers, who trained for battles that would take them far from the park, seem to still answer an unseen call, marching in silence beneath a moon that watches without judgment. Beyond the Sentinel, there is another legend tied to Toyama Park, the Whispering Oak. This ancient tree, gnarled and twisted with age, is said to hold the secrets of those who were lost to the park's history. Locals believe that if you place your ear to the bark at night, you can hear faint, anguished whispers telling stories of betrayal, death, and longing. The stories often involve young soldiers, full of hope and determination, who were caught in the harsh realities of war and met tragic ends on the training fields. The whispers, said to be the voices of these fallen souls, recount their last moments with haunting clarity, expressing a sorrow that resonates through the very leaves of the tree. One tale in particular tells of a young cadet named Yoshiro, who was training at Toyama Park just before being deployed overseas. The night before his departure, Yoshiro reportedly sat alone by the Whispering Oak, speaking to the spirit of the park in a low voice. Witnesses claim that they could hear him speaking, though his words were inaudible, as if the tree itself absorbed his farewell. When Yoshiro left, the whispers that came from the oak seemed to transform, growing louder, as though lamenting his fate. Some say that the wind that rustled through the branches that night was a manifestation of his final anguished cry. And to this day, visitors who stand by the tree often report feeling a sudden, overwhelming sense of loss. The park's past has also left its mark in other unexpected ways. The The spirits of Toyama Park are not limited to the soldiers of World War II. Some stories suggest that echoes of older times can be felt in the pathways where children once played. Before the park became a military training ground, it was a place of peaceful recreation for families and community gatherings. Old residents recall tales of children laughing and playing, their games echoing through the air. But as time passed and war took hold, those echoes changed, taking on a mournful tone. Some who walk through the park at night have said they hear distant giggles, followed by sudden silence, as if the children who once played there are now watching from the shadows, forever caught in an unfulfilled moment of joy. A chilling story that has passed through the generations speaks of an old, rusted gate at the park's northern entrance. This gate, weathered and half hidden by creeping vines, is said to be the entrance to an area where forgotten battles were fought. Those who dare to pass through it at night often speak of the sudden drop in temperature and the distant metallic sounds of clashing weapons. The echo of a fight, intense and unending, seems to play out before them, complete with the shouts of soldiers and the sound of swords striking shields. But as they push forward, these sounds abruptly vanish, leaving behind only the oppressive silence of the park, as if the battle has never been fought at all. For many, it's a reminder that history's echoes are not confined to the past. They live on, twisting through time and space, reaching out to those willing to listen. The legends of Toyama Park share a common thread. They tell of spirits who were unable to move on, their stories interwoven with the very fabric of the land. As we continue, we will take a closer look at the specific places within the park that are said to be hotspots of supernatural activity and delve deeper into the encounters that have left visitors shaken and searching for answers. As the legends of Toyama Park grew, so did the stories of ghostly encounters experienced by those who dared to visit. While the park holds an array of paranormal activity, certain corners are known to be far more active, drawing those who seek to witness the unexplained. These areas, steeped in history and shrouded in eerie presences, have left their marks on both the brave and the unwitting. One of the most frequently discussed spots in Toyama Park is the old training grounds, an open expanse marked by cracked stone paths and the overgrown remnants of once disciplined formations. Here, the air seems heavier, tinged with an invisible weight that makes even the strongest of visitors pause. People who stand in the center of the old grounds report hearing phantom footsteps pacing behind them, each step measured and deliberate, as though a soldier is marching in the background. The strangest part? No one is ever found to be there when the noise stops. The sound itself seems to grow louder at night, as if a regiment of unseen soldiers has returned to practice their drills in eternal silence. But the most unnerving stories emerge from the forest edge, a line of trees that marks the boundary of the park. This place has earned its reputation for harboring something far more sinister than the ordinary. Witnesses recount seeing flickering lights moving through the woods, dancing like fireflies, but behaving in ways that defy natural explanation. These lights shift direction suddenly, vanishing when a person tries to approach. Those who have managed to get close enough often report a sudden drop in temperature, the air turning cold enough to see their breath, as if an icy wind swept through an invisible passage. Many who visit this area speak of a tall, shadowy figure that stands just beyond the tree line. The forest watcher is known to appear only at twilight and is said to be a spectral guardian, watching silently with eyes that are only visible when caught in the reflection of moonlight. Witnesses describe an overwhelming sensation of being observed, accompanied by the faint scent of damp earth and smoke, as if someone had been there just moments before. The forest watcher is not known to move or make noise, but those who have glimpsed it say that its presence is enough to stop them in their tracks, heart pounding in their chests as an unspoken warning settles over the scene. The sunken fountain is another site with an unsettling reputation. Hidden in a secluded corner of the park, the fountain has long been abandoned, its once pristine stone now covered in ivy and moss. Those who venture near the fountain at night often report hearing the sound of water splashing, as if it were being used by unseen hands. Some visitors claim to see the shadow of a woman, clothed in a tattered gown, staring down into the basin with an expression that is equal parts sorrow and longing. The air near the fountain carries a scent of lilies, even when none are present, and the whispers of those who have passed nearby tell of seeing her reflection in the water, only for it to disappear when they blink. For those seeking tangible evidence of the park's supernatural nature, the Grove of Memories provides an unforgettable experience. This section of Toyama Park is home to an old, circular stone bench, surrounded by a ring of ancient cherry blossom trees. It is said that anyone who sits here during the full moon may hear whispers of long-lost names, fragments of conversations that were never meant to leave the confines of the park. Some visitors have claimed to feel a cold hand rest on their shoulder, as if the spirits of the park have chosen them as a listener. The names whispered are known to be those who once found themselves caught in the turmoil of war and strife, eternally bound to the land they walked. In recent years, stories from the East Path have added to the lore of Toyama Park. This narrow, winding path leads from the edge of the park into the deeper woods, where many claim to have experienced strange occurrences. A deep, throaty laugh has been heard echoing down the path, one that doesn't belong to any living soul. Those who venture to this section say the laughter is so close, so real, that it makes their skin crawl. As if in response, the air grows dense, almost suffocating, as though the laughter has summoned the very essence of the park to create a feeling of tension that holds fast until the traveler turns back. Many believe that the laughter belongs to a group of pranksters who perished long ago in an ambush and now seek to play tricks on those who pass through their realm. These sites within Toyama Park reveal that the supernatural is not confined to fleeting whispers or ephemeral lights. The hauntings here are deeply rooted in the fabric of the park's history, calling out to anyone who dares to walk through the dense shadows and forgotten corners. As we conclude, we'll delve into the effects of these encounters on those who have experienced them, revealing first-hand accounts of ghostly interactions and how they have changed the lives of those who sought answers in Toyama Park's haunted landscape. As the moon continues to cast its ghostly light over Toyama Park, the stories of encounters and eerie happenings have come to shape not just the space itself, but the lives of those who have dared to enter. The park's haunted reputation has grown beyond the bounds of whispers and ghostly rumors. It has become a part of the city's legacy, a mystery that haunts even those who have never set foot on its paths. For some, the encounter with the supernatural within Toyama Park leaves an indelible mark. One local resident, an elderly woman, shared her experience that had occurred decades ago when she was just a young girl. She recalled how she had ventured into the park with a group of friends on a dare, seeking to prove their courage. They had passed the old training grounds, where the footsteps of unseen soldiers had seemed to surround them, only to stop suddenly, leaving an oppressive silence behind. She described feeling an inexplicable sense of grief wash over her, as if the weight of 1,000 forgotten battles had descended upon her. She said that while her friends fled, she remained, almost as though compelled. That night, she felt an unseen presence guiding her steps out of the park and back to her home. To this day, she can't walk through the park without a deep, inexplicable sense of sorrow washing over her, as if the echoes of those old soldiers were reminding her of their eternal vigil. Others, like a young urban explorer, have dedicated their lives to uncovering the stories that the park holds. His journey began with a single night spent trying to capture evidence of the ghostly figure known as the Forest Watcher. He never did see it, but he reported feeling an icy gust of wind that cut through him, despite the stillness of the air, followed by an inexplicable but piercing silence. He would later learn that the silence was more than just the absence of sound. It was the absence of the living, a rare moment when the park itself seemed to hold its breath. From then on, Shiro became an advocate for uncovering the history of the park, making it his mission to catalog the whispers, the shadows, and the laughter that lingered in the dark corners. His research brought to light the testimony of others who claimed to have felt the same inexplicable chill or heard voices calling out from beyond the trees, voices that seemed to recognize their own. Perhaps the most unsettling tale belongs to a historian who took up a special project to document the stories of those who had been drawn to the park over the years. One evening, while delving into old records, he found a journal from a man who had been part of a failed attempt to build a memorial within the park decades earlier. The journal spoke of a growing sense of dread that took hold of the builders, who began to report seeing fleeting glimpses of figures in the dark and hearing the clatter of tools as though an unseen crew were working alongside them. The final entry described an encounter so vivid that the man abandoned the project altogether. He wrote of seeing a shadow that rose from the ground, tall and hollow-eyed, with a voice that carried the weight of forgotten despair. Leave, or be consumed by memory. As he was reading those words, he reported that the room grew colder, and for a fleeting moment, he heard the faint sound of footsteps behind him, though no one was there. The fear that has spread through the generations about Toyama Park is not just about its legends. It is the shared experience of unease, of an inexplicable bond between those who have felt its call. The echoes of footsteps and whispers, the cold touch of unseen hands, and the sense of being watched are more than just tales. They are a part of a collective memory, something felt by all who step into its shadowed heart. As each year passes, new accounts continue to trickle in, some of the stories growing clearer, others more cryptic. Yet one thing remains unchanged. Toyama Park, with its darkened corners and hidden histories, continues to be a place where reality blurs with the supernatural, offering no closure, only the eternal resonance of those who are no longer there but refuse to leave. The park serves as a reminder that not all hauntings are terrifying because of the specters they contain, but because of the stories they leave behind, haunting those who know them, no matter where they go. The spirit of Toyama Park endures not just in the memories of the living, but in the shared experience of those who have been drawn to its depths, leaving a legacy that is impossible to forget. In the bustling Ikebukuro district of Tokyo stands a towering landmark, the Sunshine 60 building. At a staggering height of 790 feet, it was once the tallest building in Asia when it opened in 1978. Its sleek modern design and central location make it a key part of Tokyo's skyline. But beyond its impressive facade lies a dark and haunted reputation that few dare to explore. The Sunshine 60 is not just a modern architectural marvel. It is built on land steeped in history and tragedy. Before its construction, the site was home to the infamous Sugamo prison, a place associated with grim stories of war crimes and executions during and after World War II. Some believe this tainted history has left an indelible mark on the land, making it a magnet for paranormal activity. The building itself is a marvel of modern engineering, designed to withstand earthquakes and symbolize Tokyo's rapid economic rise. Yet despite its innovative structure, stories of unexplained phenomena began to circulate even before it opened. From whispers of spirits lingering from the prison era to tales of tragedy during its construction, the Sunshine 60 seemed destined to carry an unsettling legacy. As a center of business, shopping, and entertainment, the building attracts thousands of visitors daily. But beneath its vibrant activity, a quieter, more sinister narrative persists. Those familiar with the building's history speak of shadows that move without cause, voices heard in empty hallways, and the unshakable feeling of being watched. Visitors and employees alike have reported experiencing sudden chills in specific areas, as if brushing against something unseen. This reputation as a haunted skyscraper has only grown over time, capturing the imagination of paranormal enthusiasts and skeptics alike. The Sunshine 60 stands not just as a symbol of Tokyo's modernity, but also as a reminder of the eerie connection between the past and present. What secrets linger within its walls? As we begin this journey, we'll uncover the stories that have made this iconic building one of Tokyo's most mysterious and haunted landmarks. As the Sunshine 60 building rose to prominence in the late 1970s, its eerie reputation began to solidify, not only due to its grim historical foundation, but also because of the numerous paranormal events reported by visitors and employees. The accounts are varied, unsettling, and impossible to ignore, painting a picture of a skyscraper haunted by inexplicable phenomena. One of the most common reports involves the sudden and unexplainable sensation of cold spots in the building, even in areas with no air vents or drafts. These cold patches are said to appear without warning, often accompanied by an unsettling feeling of being watched. For many, this sensation lingers long after they leave the area, leaving them shaken and unnerved. Security guards working the night shift have their own chilling tales. Several have claimed to hear disembodied footsteps echoing in empty corridors long after the building is closed for the day. In one case, a guard patrolling the upper floors followed the sound of footsteps down a hallway, only to find it abruptly stopped at a solid wall. No one else was there, and the experience left him too terrified to work alone again. Then there are the elevators, which are said to have a mind of their own. On multiple occasions, employees have reported elevators stopping at floors no one called for, or opening to reveal no one inside. Some have even described feeling an invisible presence standing beside them during the ride. These inexplicable incidents have made the elevators a focal point for ghost hunters and thrill seekers who visit the building. Perhaps the most unsettling stories come from those who work in the offices on higher floors. Staff have reported hearing whispers in otherwise silent rooms, documents mysteriously moving, and computers turning on by themselves. One office worker recalled staying late one evening when she heard what sounded like faint laughter coming from an empty conference room. When she went to investigate, the lights flickered and the sound abruptly stopped, leaving her paralyzed with fear. While skeptics might attribute these experiences to overactive imaginations or technical glitches, the sheer volume of reports suggests something more. The Sunshine 60 building, towering over Tokyo with its modernity and sophistication, seems to be a paradox, a place where the past refuses to stay buried and where the boundaries between the physical and spiritual worlds blur. These eerie encounters hint at deeper mysteries within the Sunshine 60, ones that have yet to be fully understood. As we move further into its haunted history, we'll uncover the tragedies and chilling tales that continue to shape the building's dark legacy. While strange events and eerie sensations are unsettling, the Sunshine 60 building's most chilling aspect lies in the ghostly apparitions that many claim to have seen. These entities, tied to the building's dark history, lend a palpable presence to the stories that make this skyscraper one of Tokyo's most haunted locations. One of the most infamous spirits said to haunt the Sunshine 60 is that of a woman in white. Numerous sightings describe her as a young woman with a pale, sorrowful face, her long white dress flowing eerily as she wanders the hallways. Many believe her to be the ghost of someone who met a tragic end in the building, though her identity remains a mystery. Witnesses claim that she appears suddenly, often in reflective surfaces, like windows or mirrors, only to vanish when approached. Another frequently reported apparition is that of a construction worker, believed to be one of those who lost their lives during the building's construction. He is described as wearing old-fashioned work clothes and a hard hat, his figure faint and translucent. This ghost is most often seen near the building's elevators or on the upper floors. Witnesses have reported hearing tools clinking and faint sounds of hammering when no construction work is taking place. Employees and visitors have also shared tales of shadowy figures that dart across hallways or linger just out of sight. These figures are often described as darker than the surrounding shadows, and their sudden movements leave witnesses unnerved. One visitor recounted seeing a shadow figure standing at the end of a corridor, motionless and silent. When he turned away for a moment and looked back, it had disappeared, though he could still feel its presence. The building's rooftop garden, once a serene retreat, has its own ghostly reputation. Late at night, some have claimed to hear faint voices or laughter coming from the area, even when it is completely deserted. A few have even reported seeing spectral figures pacing near the edge, as if reenacting a tragic moment from their lives. Adding to the mystery are reports of a ghostly child who is occasionally seen near the building's shopping areas. This spirit is said to appear as a young boy with wide, curious eyes, often holding a toy or pointing towards something unseen. While he does not seem threatening, his sudden appearance has startled many unsuspecting shoppers. Each of these ghosts adds another layer to the Sunshine 60's haunted reputation, their stories as diverse and enigmatic as the lives they may have once lived. These apparitions serve as a stark reminder that the building's history is more than just concrete and steel. It's a tapestry, woven with human tragedy and lingering sorrow. As we delve deeper into the Sunshine 60's haunting mysteries, we uncover even more chilling connections between its ghostly tales and the historical events that may have given rise to them. Over the years, the Sunshine 60 building has become a magnet for paranormal investigators and thrill seekers, hoping to uncover the truth behind its haunted reputation. Equipped with cameras, audio recorders, and other ghost hunting tools, these investigators have spent countless hours exploring the building's shadowy corners and hidden spaces. Their findings have only added to the eerie lore surrounding this Tokyo landmark. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Sunshine 60's paranormal phenomena is the inexplicable electronic malfunctions reported by investigators and visitors alike. Cameras often fail to capture images, with fully charged batteries inexplicably draining within moments. Some have reported strange distortions in their photos, such as unexplainable light streaks or shadowy figures that weren't visible to the naked eye. Audio recordings from investigations have captured disembodied voices echoing through the building. These whispers often include indistinct phrases, though some words, such as help or leave, are chillingly clear. A few investigators have also reported hearing loud bangs or footsteps when no one else was present, as if unseen forces were making their presence known. Thermal imaging cameras have revealed unusual cold spots in areas with no logical explanation. These cold zones are often described as unnaturally frigid, sometimes accompanied by a sudden, oppressive feeling of dread. Investigators have noted that these spots often align with the locations where tragic events are rumored to have occurred, further linking the phenomena to the building's dark past. One team of investigators reported a particularly unnerving experience in the building's basement levels, which are known for their heavy, almost suffocating atmosphere. They described hearing the faint sound of a woman sobbing, yet no source for the sound could be found. When they tried to follow the noise, it seemed to move further away, leading them deeper into the labyrinth of dimly lit corridors. In the late night hours, employees working in the building have also reported seeing elevator doors opening and closing, with no one inside. Some have claimed to hear faint music playing, even when the area was silent moments earlier. Security footage has occasionally shown elevators moving to floors where no one had called them, as if responding to an invisible presence. The rooftop garden, already infamous for ghostly encounters, has yielded some of the most compelling paranormal evidence. Nighttime visitors have reported feeling as though they were being watched or followed, even when alone. Some have seen faint, glowing orbs of light drifting among the plants, only to disappear when approached. While skeptics argue that these occurrences can be attributed to technical glitches or the power of suggestion, the sheer volume and consistency of these reports make it hard to dismiss the Sunshine 60's haunted reputation. These investigations and personal accounts provide a glimpse into the unsettling activity that seems to permeate every corner of the building. As we prepare to conclude this journey, we'll reflect on the Sunshine 60's enduring legacy as one of Tokyo's most haunted locations and the mysteries that continue to defy explanation. The Sunshine 60 building stands as a complex symbol of Tokyo's modernity and resilience, yet its chilling tales and haunted legacy refuse to fade. Over the years, the building has transitioned from a state-of-the-art skyscraper to a well-known urban legend, with its eerie history etched into the collective consciousness of Tokyo's residents and visitors. For those who pass by or visit, the Sunshine 60 is more than just an architectural marvel. It is a monument to the mysteries that continue to linger. Tourists flock to the building, curious to experience its ghostly reputation for themselves. Despite the darkness associated with it, the building remains a hub of activity, housing businesses, shops, and attractions. Its popularity is a paradoxical testament to humanity's fascination with the unknown. The building's enduring reputation as one of Tokyo's most haunted locations has even sparked cultural interest. It has been featured in documentaries, paranormal investigation shows, and local legends that keep the stories alive. The accounts of ghostly encounters have given the Sunshine 60 an almost mythic status, blending fact, folklore, and fear into a compelling narrative. Yet for those who believe, the stories are not just tales, but warnings. The Sunshine 60 is a stark reminder of the tragedies that often accompany ambitious projects. Its shadowy history, marked by loss and mystery, seems to have left an indelible mark on its very structure. For some, the building's towering presence is less a marvel of engineering and more a lingering question about the nature of the afterlife. Despite its dark reputation, the Sunshine 60 also carries a lesson about perseverance. From its beginnings as a symbol of modern Japan to its haunted legacy, it shows that even the most daunting shadows cannot eclipse the light of human curiosity and courage. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, the building serves as a reminder of our ongoing quest to understand the unknown. As we leave the Sunshine 60, its mysteries remain unsolved. The spectral stories, unexplained events, and haunting apparitions challenge us to think about the boundaries between this world and the next. Is it merely our imagination, or is there something more lurking within its walls? Whatever the answer may be, the Sunshine 60 continues to captivate and terrify, ensuring its place as one of Tokyo's most enigmatic landmarks. Its stories remain alive, whispered among those brave enough to explore its shadowy corners and wonder about the secrets it will forever keep.